Welcome! Welcome all, welcome YouTube video watchers and internet explorers and other explorers of non-duality and such like. Welcome to my next video. This video is the fourth in a 5-part series all about a relatively simple way of realizing no self, realizing there's no inherent self. Now, please, if you haven't seen the first 3 parts of my series, please go and see them. It's very important because they'll give you some background knowledge and information that will enable you to fully grasp what I'm going to say in this next video. If you skip them, it won't make as much sense, so please do see those, try and see them in order to get the most out of it. First video, introduction. Second video was the senses and how they relate to the body, and the body being the self. Third video, choice and control. This is the fourth video. What's this video about? Well, I've decided to title this video Mental Formations. Okay, what's that? What am I talking about? Well, anything relates to thinking and the mind. And I've noticed that we seem to have a mental equivalent of each sense. I'll just try to explain that. So if we take, for example, straight away, the imagination. We imagine an image, or we imagine an object. In the mind's eye, you could say, in our minds. Now that is like seeing. We're not literally seeing with the eyes, but we are imagining an object as if we were seeing it. So that kind of correlates directly to the seeing sense. Then also we have thinking, which is similar to like the voice in the head. For example, wonder what I shall do tomorrow, kind of thing. And it's as if we're literally hearing our own voice. So that is a direct relation to hearing. So thinking relates to hearing. And also we have, like, for example, the remembrance of a piece of music. We can remember the sounds. So that's just like hearing. Or remembrance of a taste. Remembering the taste of something we really enjoyed. So that's again directly related to the sense of taste. And also remembering a particular feeling, like if we were petting our favourite animal, cat or dog, whatever, we'd remember what that felt like. So the remembrance of a feeling will be the mental equivalent to feeling. So that's what I mean by mental formations. And in this video I'm going to show how they relate to the self and how it all works. Okay, before I get underway, let's explore what we refer to by the word the mind, a mind. And obviously that relates to the self, because we would say I have a mind, my mind. So we'd say a thought just appeared in my mind, or I imagined something in my mind. So what was that refer to? Well, if you consider the thinking process and also the imagining process, it's clear that thoughts continuously arrive, one by one. And there are periods, of course, where there's no thinking, and then thinking comes up again, and the thoughts arise. And the mental images arise as you imagine things. So the mind, the word the mind, relates to, or is a pointer for, the process of continuously thinking, the thoughts that arise. Now we refer to the mind as if it was a literal thing, like it was a container, my mind, seeing thoughts in a mind. But hopefully you realise that it's not a literally real container. For example, when we say we see an imaginary object, we imagine something, clearly that's not a real thing. Obviously, because we've stated it's imaginary. So the mind is just a pointer for the process of thinking. It's not literally a real container or a real thing. And similarly, we often say, I imagine something, it appeared in my head. The thought appeared in my head. Or if we were imagining a cup, for example, oh, I just imagined a cup, the cup appeared in my head. Although that's a standard phrase, probably the standard phrase because we continuously think that the brain does the activity of thinking, that we say that as a standard phrase. But hopefully you'll realise that it's not literally the case. Because if it was literally the case that the imaginary object, for example, appeared in my head, could you actually cut open the head and find the object inside it? No. Also, when you say imaginary object or imagination, by that very definition, they're not literally real things. They don't exist. So hopefully you realise that in my head is just a stock phrase. It's not a literal description. So the two things we'll examine now in relation to the self is thinking, like the voice in the head of thoughts, and also the imagination. Let's do imagination first, because the thinking process does have a lot of extra stuff which I wanted to go into. So, imagination. Let's first of all go to our ideas, beliefs, standard views about the imagination. So I, this person, you could even say this body, or maybe even this brain if you were thinking along those lines, am imagining something. I am imagining an object. An object appears to me. Which is like two things if you consider it. There is an imaginary object and then the person or the self that the imaginary object appears to. That's our standard view. Okay, that's the standard belief. Now, if you're following my exercises, you know what I'm about to say. So go and actually look. Go to the imagination in the present moment and consider what you can find. Say, for example, a cup. Imagine a cup. Do that. Actually imagine a cup. There's a cup. Now, while you're imagining the cup, where is the I, me, self, person that is witnessing that? Can that be found? Notice we're not looking for an idea about what is witnessing the imaginary cup. No, we're actually looking for what is actually imagining it. What is witnessing the imaginary cup? What is imagining it? Can that be found? Because we are looking for an inherent self here. Can an inherent self be found that is witnessing what is in the imagination? Now hopefully if you're clued up into this investigation, you will realise the only thing you can find is what is being imagined, what appears in the imagination. That's the only thing that's there. And also, if you were to say the imaginer, the person, the self that is imagining, is appearing in the imagination, then that wouldn't be what is witnessing it, that would be what appears. And the search is for what is witnessing the imagination. So you might actually latch onto the idea this kind of inquiry is illogical, because we'll never find what is imagining it. We'll only ever find what is being imagined. And you'd be correct. Why? Why is that so? Could it be that the only thing we ever have is an idea, a belief about what is imagining it? We can never find an inherently real self imagining. We can never find an inherent self that is witnessing what is in the imagination. So there is no inherent self there. There is no inherent self imagining. Okay, let's go on to thoughts now. And this has an added component with it which might be a bit tricky to grasp, but hopefully you'll get it. Can turn out to become quite paradoxical in nature, but hopefully you'll start grasping this. So let's go to thoughts, which, as I say, is like the voice in the head. I wonder what I'm going to do tomorrow. That sort of thing. Like the voice, like witnessing a voice in the head. So if we go to our ideas, beliefs and thoughts about what is going on, we would say, I am thinking. I had an idea. An idea appeared to me, which in general thoughts is a duality, two things. There is the idea, and there is self, me, I, that is having the idea, or is witnessing the idea appear. Okay, that's our standard view. Now, go to the opposite side and actually look. Do an experiment. Think a thought. And as the thought appears, try to find what is thinking it. What can be found thinking the thought? What is witnessing the thought? Can what is having the thought be found? Notice we're not looking for an idea about what we think is thinking the thought. We're actually looking for the actual thinker, the witness of the thought. Can the witness of the thought be found? And similar to all the other investigation we've done, perhaps you could notice that the only thing that you could say that appears in thinking is what is being thought. That's it. In thinking there is only what is being thought. That's all that can be found. The thinker of the thought can never be found. Because obviously, again, if the thinker of the thought was found in the thinking, it would be in the thinking and not witnessing the thought. So it's illogical. It's actually illogical to even consider it this way. And you'd be right. But why is that? Could it be that the I, the me, the self, that is said to be witnessing the thought, could that only ever be just an idea, a belief, the content of thought itself? Because in thought we could say, I am thinking. So in that thought there is an I. In the content of I am thinking there is an I in the content of that thought. But that is a thought. Content of the thought is a thought, an idea, a belief, a concept. Does the I in that thought, I am thinking, relate to a real, inherently real self? No, because an inherently real self, a thinker of the thought, can never be found. The only thing we ever have is our beliefs and ideas about it, about what we think is going on. And you can do all the other mental faculties, mental formations, the remembrance of sounds, the remembrance of tastes, the remembrance of feelings, etc., 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 in a similar way. Can you find the self that is having these experiences, these remembrances, these imaginations, these thoughts? Where is the self that is having those? Actually, can you find one? Not can you think about one or think about what is going on, but actually find one. So just to go along a little bit further than that. A thought might come up, I am thinking. That thought will be automatically believed in. When I say automatically believed in, it will be automatically believed that there is an inherently real self having the thought. It wouldn't be questioned. But if you question it, I am thinking, what is this I that is thinking? Is it an inherently real self? Or does the I in the thought I am thinking not relate to anything inherently real? It is only a thought, a concept, a belief, because there is no inherently real self to be found thinking. Well, that concludes this section. Just a few more things to say. Remember, please, this isn't a mental exercise. You actually have to do it. You have to consider what's going on and actually go to thinking, go to imagination, and actually look to see if you can find an inherently real self, one that is believed to be there, doing these things. Can you find a thinker? Can you find an imaginer? Actually look, find them. Can they be found? And I think you'll find that they cannot, because there is no inherent self. Thank you for watching. That was the fourth part. The final part I'll do, fifth and final part, try saying that when you're drunk. The fifth and final part will be just tying it all together with a few other pointers, maybe covering one or two things I might not have mentioned so far, and we'll leave it there. Again, if you're stuck or you've got some questions or you're not quite sure what's going on, please write a comment. I'll try and help you out. Thank you again for watching. Try and help you out, and I'll see you in the next final part of the video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.